I like to have the text, so finish the book, something like that. So I'm gonna read the verse and I'll translate. I like to get into every word there. Shri Devi Uvacha Shrutam Deva Maya Sarvam Rudra Yamala Sambhavam Trika Bhedam Aseshena Sarat Sara Vibhagasaha Adyapina Nivritto Me Samsayaha Parameshwaraha Kim Rupam Tat Tato Deva Shabda Rasi Kalamayam Kim Va Navatma Bhedena Bhairave Bhairavakrito Trishiro Bheda Bhinnam Va Kim Va Shakti Trayatmakam Nada Bindu Mayam Vapi Kim Chandrata Nirodhika Chakrarudham Anachkam Va Kim Va Shakti Swarupakam Paraya Sakalam Aparaya Sava Punaha Paraya Yadi Tadvat Syat Paratam Tadvirudhyate Nahi Varna Vivedena Deha Vedena Va Bhave Parattam Nishkalatvena Sakalatve Natad Bhavete Prasadam Kurume Natha Nishesam Chindi Samsayam Sri Bhairava Uvacha Sadhu Sadhu Toya Prishtam Tantra Saramidam Priye Guhaniyatamam Bhadre Tathapi Kathayamite Yat Kinchit Sakalam Rupam Bhairavasya Prakirtitam Tad Asarataya Devi Vidyayam Sakra Jalavate. And it continues. So, this is this goddess. First of all, what happens is this dialogue, we have to get to the stage of dialogue. We are not there yet, but I will maybe repeat some of the concepts in our next conversation too. Because this concept of dialogue needs to be thoroughly addressed. When you and I initiate a dialogue, we sometimes quarrel, I love to quarrel too. And we discover love. And there is this dialogue in our head. That is not the outside dialogue. There is no moment in you when there is no dialogue. But in Sushupti, in deep sleep, maybe there is no dialogue. Okay, don't worry, there is dialogue. I'll talk about that later. There is an eternal conversation. Nobody stops talking within themselves. There is some kind of conversation constantly happening. In the deeper level, let's go. In the pulsation of the heartbeat itself is the first ripple of that dialogue, not expressed in the form of language. Language is subsequent that to the beat, the nada. That's pure sound. And then we have to go further, deeper. Anything that has vibration, that vibration itself is a dialogue. How? There is a spinning. Spinning requires something being spun, somewhere the process is happening. Whatever the field, Vyoma, sky, is Shiva. Whatever is spinning, the energy is Shakti. So without Shiva and Shakti, nothing exists. Without dialogue of Shiva and Shakti, nothing exists. There is no body that is deprived of, exempted of this eternal conversation between Shiva and Shakti. They crack open in the beginning. What happens? What if there is this absolute pure consciousness state? That Shakti, now we would call entropy, a sort of the end of all the energies, ultimately where it goes to. We don't believe that it goes to total chaos. We say that it goes back to Shiva, pure consciousness. Because the ultimate nature is if you have something, you make a bubble, like a wound up thing, and then it unfolds, it spins out, it goes back to its original form. So things, they come to spin and are conditioned. They have these conditionings, they have to unfold in all those many, whatever, billions of spinnings, and then ultimately they go back to their primordial nature, nispanda, free from pulsation. Is that free from pulsation deprived of energy? Because that is the basis of which pulsation begins. Like breathing in and breathing out, or opening of the eyes and closing of the eyes, this spanda and nispanda, pulsation of in and out, is an eternal process. And this is called the dialogue between the goddess and Lord Shiva. The dialogue between Shiva and Shakti is a metaphor for the universal dialogue, which describes every single thing that is happening in the world, because everything is dialogical in nature. Our being is itself a replica of that fundamental dialogue. We align with the original primordial dialogue. We make our life more coordinated with the absolute reality, absolute nature. We deprived of that fundamental dialogue in our conversation, then we deprive truth, reality from our conversation. It becomes meaningless words. When there is no soul coming out of the inner being, only words coming out, there is no experience. The experience is the very pure consciousness. The fundamental dialogue happens in Pashyanti, in that ultimate state where Shiva sees himself. How does he see? As Shakti. There's this, in Kashmir, they made this amazing, beautiful, I don't know which museum they have this picture of. Parvati has a mirror, and she looks into the mirror, and then in the mirror they have an image of Shiva. Because when Parvati looks into mirror and sees, of course it's her face being reflected, but she doesn't see a beautiful woman face. She sees herself as Shiva. Think you householders, okay, like for one time at least. Think, I mean, you see, you love your spouse. Think of loving like that, okay? It's a metaphor for how love can be felt, experienced. When you feel your presence as the presence of your partner. When you're being, that's an Ardhanarishwara, half man and half woman, that's another. These are metaphors. What are they trying to say? They all are talking about this fundamental dialogue of this primordial nature that is embedded with consciousness. Consciousness is always having this vast expression. Na sosti pratyo loke yashabdanugamadrite anuviddamiva jnanam sarvam sabdena bhasate anadinidanam brahma sabdatattvam yadaksharam vivartatertha bhavena prakriya jagato yata. There was one sage named Bhartrihari in 5th century. He wrote this philosophy that is kind of sort of a foundation. Before Kashmir Shaivism came into being, he provided that linguistic foundation for the philosophy. So our ultimate nature is dialogical. It's not about eradicating the dialogue, but there is this going back to, retrieving to the original primordial nature of dialogue. That is Chidananda. Pure consciousness is the expression of bliss, and bliss is the expression of pure consciousness. Ananda is Shakti, she expresses herself in the form of bliss, and you are that Shiva. Let me explain. In Sanskrit, the first alphabet is called A. That fits also with alphabet because it's A, right? Now, the second alphabet is called A. How does A come into being? When you have many A's, more than two or more, then you have A, and then that is A. It's a simple rule of combination. A is the pure consciousness without thoughts. When that A has Ekoham Bahusyam, I am only one. What is fun in being alone? Let me be many. Then that A becomes A. That A is Ananda, means the bliss. So, when I experience bliss, that is not something other than me. In the bliss, I am seeing myself expressed in manifold. Being manifold is not counterintuitive to being. Not knowing is counterintuitive, that's all. Being dumb is counterintuitive. Being many is not a problem. Not recognizing that intrinsic oneness in being many is the problem. Being many is fun. It's wonderful. So imagine if I were to sit here alone and have all this amazing conversation. The neighbors down there, guy gone crazy, you know. We are enjoying. I'm enjoying. I'm happy you are listening. So so there's this some kind of, you are not speaking. I'm only one speaking now. Soon I'll let you speak. But even then, in me, I have a dialogue. Because I am understanding, I'm trying to reach out to each of you in your question and trying to address to those questions. In that meta level, in the higher plane, in each of us are having a conversation, personal conversation, very private conversation. So the dialogue is not counterintuitive to the revelation of the truth. The truth unfolds itself. Just the way the one unfolding of the truth is this world, the second unfolding of the truth is the teachings that allows us to recognize our position in the world, our essential nature, our being, our true condition, and reconditioning or deconditioning of ourselves. That is also another speech, another dialogue. This is Agama. This is Shruti. So then when we have this Shruti, last point, and I promise I'll stop then, is Samshaya. What happens then is doubt creeps in our head. We do not know what is to believe. We do not understand which teaching is correct. We do not understand what to follow, which is the path. And every single person is claiming every single path. And Lord Himself has unfolded millions of paths so that whoever is qualified for whatever type of thing can go to that particular path. It is not of one particular thing. Anybody who is willing to go beyond doubt itself, anybody who wants to understand the mechanism of how consciousness and doubt emerges in our mind, this is the path. But Anybody who wants to know which God to worship, this is not the path. Because that's just like come to me and worship this particular God, worship this particular statue or no statue at all, that will lead you to hell. So those are different types of paths, not judging them. This path can only help you to get to the way mind is made, the inner functioning of the mind, the inner engineering of the mind, and how to recover our lost self, scattered, distributed in the manifold. An ultimate goal is how to rediscover that essential freedom by means of which I can experience one more time my own inherent connection with each and every being in the world. Vishwa Mayata means like to become the unfolding of the world, the totality, to become every being as myself. This is this path. So to sum up, there is this multiple agamas there. This particular text comes from Rudra Yamala. Again, even within agamas, there are different types of agamas. The Yamala texts are always going to come in this Yabyum, mother, father. Yabyum is a Tibetan terminology. They have the same concept of Yamala. The idea is there is going to be an intrinsic, inherent duality in the ultimate nature, but that duality does not contradict oneness. How can you have two and one? It's like the egg, you have white and yellow, and it's one egg, just like that. But actually, Bhartihari gives an even more better example. He says, Mayuranda Rasanyaya. It's a little technical, but it's an easy example. I always follow his example. If you do not ever crack and do that, but hypothetically, you crack open the egg of a peacock and look into the yolk, all you will see is a gooey fluid of a single color. You are not going, so let's go look into, we have these scientists, amazing brothers, let's see the color with the microscope. My brother has, electronic microscope, we're looking into DNA, I'll find that color. No, you aren't going to find that color. The colors of peacock come as they come to age. When the shell cracks open and the baby peacock comes out, it starts with all these manifold colors. Having so many different colors does not make that egg to be many inside, or that egg to have tons of different colors inherently, and just because there is no color to see there does not mean that there is no latency. For when the time comes, appropriate conditions emerge, all those colors will come into being. So there is no, this is beyond Dvaita and Advaita. This is not a conversation about is it dualistic, it is non-dualistic, monistic. These are for, the book will say further, it's for the children who want to enjoy having a position of I am Advaiti. I believe in the absolute duality of I can never be God, God is God, I'm me. Others, no, I'm all one. This oneness, manyness, all these are concepts. These are ideas, thoughts, for entertainment. Ultimately, we need to wake up. So this is the whole discourse, and I'm today not going into any of those 112 methods, but because as I had told you, that today would be just an orientation to actually delve deep into these practices. And we may be just sitting and meditating some of these. We may not need to have even just words coming out. So because when we get into some of these practices, the ultimate goal is to feel the transformation that's needed in each and every one of us. And bondage is there, but it's not given by somebody. No goblin has put us into, this condition. And so help me go worship, I worship this God and I'm gonna be free. It would be nice if our bondage were caused by somebody else. If Professor Rao chains me and takes the key, goes away, and I make him happy, he can chain me out. He can liberate me. But if the chain is myself, if I am the one who has conditioned my being, I can cry, please help me, and he can say, okay, well, just why don't you help yourself? So this is a self-help thing. No matter how many times we listen to the same conversation, as long as our thirst to get away from our essential being to be outside, that long this inner journey will not begin. We have to be open to the possibility that what if we have seen this whole world, everything, but not seen what makes me as me? What is my essential being? What am I like? And when we are curious, at least, when we are at least willing to entertain the idea that if the whole world is worth seeing and investing so much, all our life we are putting all our energy to actualize external things, why not I also try to actualize what am I like? What is my real nature? What it is that I can ultimately feel when I feel as me? That what is the basic consciousness of I consciousness? What I mean is, where is this I consciousness grounded? What is the foundation of I consciousness? So that this is the Vijnana Vairava, is the journey to the foundation of I consciousness that is beyond conceptualization, beyond conditioning. Thank you so much, and we'll have a question and answer.